the public broke the silence. Ha ha, bro, you're acting like I'm some superhero or rule-breaker mastermind, like the scary headline is literally talking about a man who shook the whole world, and you keep saying, "This is you did this," like I've got secret powers, and I'm laughing like it's some rule-breaking legend. But nah, brother, I didn't break any rule. You're hyping it like every headline is about me. And now the public noise has started. Authorities are stressed, looking for one name to blame for this huge scandal that made everyone worry about their posts. And you're saying congratulations, brother, because in the end, dramatic action and strong decisions always bring change. You're super happy because you think the common people finally got their rights back just because of one bold, crazy choice. And all the credit will go to me because of this legendary trick you keep praising. Before we go deeper, hit that like button. Subscribe to help us reach 5,000 subscribers. And leave a comment with the number Mr. Ledger, because legends don't need headlines. They need momentum, and real change always starts with one wild story that wakes up the world. So congratulations again, not because rules were broken, but because silence finally was. True change rarely comes from those looking for the spotlight. Most people wait for approval, validation, or recognition before they act. But real impact comes from making choices that shake the status quo, regardless of whether anyone notices. You acted because it mattered, not because anyone would clap or cheer, and that's the essence of leadership. Think about the innovators, the reformers, or even everyday people who stand up against injustice. They didn't do it for likes or headlines. They did it because awareness needed to be triggered. That single decision you made created ripples that are now impossible to ignore. When you step forward, even quietly, you spark conversations, thoughts, and actions in others. It's like dropping a stone into a pond. The ripples go farther than you can see. By choosing to act, you made people pay attention to the issue at hand without demanding recognition. This is the kind of influence that lasts. Unlike temporary fame, awareness has power. It motivates others, challenges complacency, and shifts perspectives. History remembers the impact, not the applause. Awareness also forces people to reflect on their own choices. Suddenly, what was invisible becomes visible, and what was tolerated is questioned. The courage to take action without seeking attention is the rare trait that creates long-term change. When you decide to act because it's necessary, you inspire a movement without ever having to claim the credit. And that is a far more powerful legacy than any headline could ever capture. It's astonishing how one well-timed, bold choice can shatter years of silence. People often wait for the perfect moment, but the truth is, no moment will ever be perfect until someone acts. By stepping forward, you demonstrated that action. Any decisive action is the key to breaking inertia. It doesn't take a team, a strategy, or a large audience. It takes courage. One person, one choice, one act of courage can ignite conversations that were impossible before. Consider real-world examples: whistleblowers, innovators, activists. One decision, often fraught with risk, brought hidden truths to light. When someone finally acts, others feel permission to do the same. Silence isn't a shield, it's a cage. By choosing action, you didn't just break silence, you gave everyone else the courage to raise their voice. The world noticed, the conversation shifted, and momentum began building, all because someone had the bravery to step up. The power of one decision reminds us that waiting for permission is a trap. If everyone waited for the right time, nothing would ever change. Your decision proves that history isn't written by those who hesitate, it's shaped by those who dare. That single moment of courage has already altered the landscape, and it's a lesson. One act of boldness can be enough to awaken the collective consciousness. Real transformation never waits for approval. If you pause to get everyone's consent, the moment will pass, and the opportunity will be lost. Change is forged in action, not in discussion. You demonstrated this by taking the step that others feared, showing that waiting for permission often means waiting forever. True leaders, innovators, and game changers understand this principle instinctively. They act first, and explanations follow. History is full of people who challenge systems without asking for approval. Think of movements that altered society, companies that disrupted industries, or individuals who redefined norms. None of them waited for a nod from the establishment. They simply acted by taking initiative. Without seeking validation, you proved that meaningful change comes from courage and conviction, not consensus. Your choice sent a message. The world doesn't need more hesitation. It needs bold, calculated action. Moreover, acting without permission creates a chain reaction. Others see that action is possible, and suddenly, fear loses its grip. Change becomes tangible, contagious, and unstoppable. You didn't need anyone to tell you it was the right move. Your instincts, combined with courage, were enough to reshape the conversation. And that is exactly what leadership looks like. Decisive, fearless, and unafraid to defy the comfort of approval. When people start noticing, it's rarely because everyone else was perfect. They notice because someone dared to step forward. Action is magnetic. It draws attention and sparks conversations that idle words never can. You made people listen, think, and question, simply by choosing to act when no one else would. That's the kind of influence that can't be bought or forced. It comes from authenticity and courage. People talk not because of drama, but because courage demands acknowledgement. Every time someone acts decisively, it forces the world to respond. When you took that step, you created a domino effect. Conversations that were dormant suddenly resurfaced. Problems that were ignored became visible, and discussions that seemed impossible started happening. This is why action always speaks louder than words. The world notices because action is proof. Proof that change is not just a concept, but a possibility. Being the first to act also inspires others to follow. People often feel paralyzed by fear, self-doubt, or hesitation. But when someone steps forward, it gives others permission to do the same. The discussions, debates, and reflections happening now exist because one person refused to wait. That is the power of initiative. The courage of one person can ignite the bravery of many. You don't need flashy headlines or constant recognition to make history. True impact is measured by results, not media coverage. Often, the most significant breakthroughs happen quietly, away from cameras and public acclaim. Your choice, your courage, and your action will be remembered not for how loudly the world announced it, but for the tangible change it created. History is filled with individuals whose actions reshaped the future without ever appearing on the front page. Consider the innovators, activists, or pioneers who changed systems without seeking fame. Their work was unseen by the masses at first, but its effects reverberated for decades. Your decision embodies that principle. Real change isn't about applause, it's about disrupting the pattern, challenging norms, and creating a ripple effect that continues long after the initial act. You are proof that headlines are optional. Impact is not. Furthermore, history has a way of rewarding courage even when the present doesn't notice. Future generations study, emulate, and are inspired by those who acted boldly. You may not see the immediate recognition, but the consequences of your decision will echo through time. That is the essence of meaningful action. Its value is in the change it produces, not the applause it earns. Pressure is never the enemy, it's a signal. It shows that you've stepped outside the comfort zone, that your action has touched nerves, and that the status quo is being tested. By making the choice to act, you invited pressure into your life because change always comes with resistance. Those who are comfortable with inaction often feel threatened when someone else decides to disrupt the familiar. The discomfort you feel is not failure. It's proof that you are on the right path. Every great breakthrough in history came with pressure. Inventors, leaders, and innovators faced criticism, doubt, and immense stress. Yet they persisted because the pressure was a sign that their actions mattered. When you choose to act decisively, resistance will follow. But that resistance is confirmation that you are shaking systems that need shaking. The tension is not punishment. It is validation that you are challenging the wrongs others tolerated. Pressure also has a transformative effect. It forces you to think faster, adapt, and strengthen your resolve. It tests your commitment and shapes your ability to navigate adversity. The discomfort you experience now is molding you into someone capable of handling far greater impact. The sound of pressure is the sound of growth, and you embraced it by taking action when others hesitated. Many people believe that staying quiet protects them from consequences, criticism, or conflict. But silence rarely brings safety. It only preserves the problems, strengthens the system of inaction, and allows wrongdoing or complacency to continue unchecked. By choosing to act, you prove that speaking up and taking action is far more powerful than hiding behind quiet compliance. Courage, not silence, shapes outcomes. History shows time and again that those who stayed silent often lived with regret, watching opportunities slip away. Meanwhile, those who acted, even at great personal risk, created legacies that outlasted their lifetimes. By breaking your silence, you challenged the notion that comfort comes from doing nothing. You showed that safety is not in silence. It's in integrity, conviction, and the bravery to face uncertainty. Moreover, your decision has a domino effect. Others see that silence is not the answer and begin to question their own hesitation. By taking action, you created a ripple of courage that challenges complacency, reshapes thinking, and inspires proactive behavior. Silence may feel safe in the moment, but bold action creates security through influence, change, and the knowledge that you did what was necessary. When you step out of your comfort zone and make a daring choice, the world can't help but notice. Bold moves are inherently disruptive. They shake routines, challenge assumptions, and demand attention. You didn't wait for permission or approval. You acted decisively. That energy alone generates conversations, debates, and reflection. Bold actions are loud not because they seek attention, but because they disrupt the status quo. Think of every major innovation, movement, or shift in society. It was never subtle. People noticed because the action mattered. Boldness signals intent, conviction, and courage. By taking a strong step forward, you commanded attention without trying, simply because your choice created results. It's a reminder that meaningful actions always echo, and those echoes shape how the world responds. Boldness also inspires others. When people see someone willing to take risks for a bigger purpose, they are motivated to step up themselves. The ripple effect of courageous actions can reshape communities, organizations, and even societies. By making a bold move, you became the catalyst for change, proving that one brave choice can create the noise necessary for others to awaken and act. Bravery is contagious. Most people hesitate because they fear the unknown, rejection, or failure. But when one person decides to act, they give others permission to follow. Your choice created an example, a reference point, and a spark for others who were waiting for someone to lead. Courage rarely exists in isolation. It inspires imitation and empowers communities to step out of fear. Consider how movements, businesses, and societal changes often start. One person steps forward, and suddenly others realize that action is possible. Fear diminishes when someone demonstrates it can be overcome. By going first, you shattered the mental barrier that held others back, proving that bravery doesn't need approval. It just needs initiative. You became the trailblazer others needed to see, lighting the path for action. Being first isn't easy. It comes with scrutiny, doubt, and pressure. Yet the rewards extend beyond recognition. They lie in inspiring collective courage and creating momentum. People are now acting because someone demonstrated that risk is worth taking. Your choice to step forward first didn't just impact you. It changed the mindset of everyone watching. That is the power of leadership in action. Accountability is uncomfortable. For those who avoid it, it feels like chaos, pressure, and unpredictability. But for those willing to embrace it, accountability is liberation. It's clarity, responsibility, and the power to shape outcomes. By taking action and standing by your choices, you demonstrated that accountability is not something to fear, but something to harness. People may resist or criticize, but that resistance is often a sign that your actions are shaking complacency. Think about leaders, innovators, and change makers throughout history. They were rarely praised for taking responsibility early on. Instead, they faced scrutiny, doubts, and even opposition. Yet, it was their willingness to hold themselves accountable that ultimately created respect, influence, and long-term results. By choosing action and ownership, you challenged the illusion of safety that comes from avoiding responsibility. That courage sets a benchmark for others to follow. Accountability also inspires trust and momentum. When people see someone step up, accept responsibility, and act decisively, they feel encouraged to do the same. Your decision to embrace accountability has turned chaos into a catalyst for growth. The noise it created is not failure. It is proof that meaningful change cannot happen without someone willing to carry the weight of responsibility. One of the most powerful lessons in life is that you cannot control how others respond to your actions. The opinions, criticisms, or praise of others are beyond your reach. What you can control is your choice, your integrity, and your commitment to act. By focusing on your decision rather than the reaction, you demonstrated true courage, choosing purpose over approval. Every bold action triggers reactions, some positive, some negative. History shows that those who waited for universal support never achieved anything significant. Leaders, innovators, and change makers always faced resistance. By controlling your choice rather than the outcome, you turned uncertainty into strength, showing that impact comes from deliberate action, not external validation. This mindset also frees you from fear. When your focus is on what you can control, your effort, dedication, and decision-making, you are unstoppable. People may doubt, criticize, or misunderstand, but your choice to act remains your own, untouched by external noise. That is the essence of leadership. Knowing your power lies in action, not in controlling how the world perceives it. Impact is not measured by recognition or applause. It's measured by the tangible difference your actions create. True influence often goes unnoticed at first. By acting without expectation of praise, you proved that meaningful contributions are about results, not accolades. Many of history's greatest moments were quietly monumental before the world realized their significance. Your choice is part of that same principle. Action creates change, even without immediate acknowledgement. Consider the innovators, reformers, and trailblazers who never sought fame. They worked diligently, faced obstacles, and persevered because the goal was transformation, not attention. The ripple effect of their work reshaped industries, societies, and communities. Similarly, your decision may not have made headlines, but it has set off a chain reaction that is already changing perspectives, behaviors, and norms. That is true impact, measurable, lasting, and independent of applause. Acting without seeking recognition also builds resilience. It teaches you that value lies in contribution, not in validation. The people whose actions truly make a difference understand this deeply. By focusing on impact rather than reward, you demonstrated the courage and mindset that create real, sustainable change. The difference you made will be remembered long after the noise fades. Most people think that when change feels chaotic, the system itself is failing. But the truth is, systems don't fail on their own. Complacency does. Inaction, hesitation, and fear allow problems to persist and grow. By taking decisive action, you expose the cracks created not by the system, but by those who accepted the status quo. Your courage challenged comfort and highlighted that real disruption comes from initiative, not destruction. Look at society, organizations, and even communities. The biggest failures rarely come from external forces. They come from those who refuse to act, to question, or to challenge. By stepping forward, you broke the cycle of complacency and showed that change isn't only possible, it's inevitable when someone refuses to stay quiet. The system wasn't broken. It was waiting for someone to act, and you became that catalyst. This realization is empowering. It teaches that meaningful change doesn't require tearing everything down. It requires refusing to accept mediocrity. By confronting complacency head-on, you set a precedent for proactive thinking, inspiring others to move beyond fear and inertia. Change starts when action replaces passivity, and your decision is a living example of that truth. Progress never comes from staying in the shadows. Real change begins when someone decides their impact matters more than their comfort. Playing small keeps the world stagnant, while boldness triggers transformation. Your choice to act boldly demonstrates that growth, influence, and meaningful change require stepping into the arena, embracing risk, and refusing to let fear dictate your actions. Countless breakthroughs, whether in business, social movements, or personal achievements, originated from someone daring to act beyond what felt safe. Those who played small never shifted the world. Those who embraced responsibility and took the initiative became the catalysts for progress. By refusing to play small, you prove that meaningful change begins with personal courage and a commitment to act despite uncertainty. This principle applies to everyone watching your example. When one person refuses to stay small, they create a ripple effect that encourages others to act boldly as well. Growth, innovation, and transformation require individuals willing to take risks and embrace responsibility. Your decision embodies this principle. Change begins when action replaces hesitation, and the world takes notice when someone refuses to shrink. At the heart of every achievement, breakthrough, and historical shift is a simple choice: action over comfort. Comfort may feel safe, but it never leads to progress. By choosing action, you demonstrated bravery, determination, and the willingness to face challenges head-on. Every ripple created by your choice proves that courage is more influential than caution, and results are always more powerful than inaction. Choosing action means embracing risk, uncertainty, and even criticism. Yet, it also means choosing growth, influence, and transformation. By taking that step when it mattered most, you refused to let fear dictate your potential. You didn't wait for others to lead. You became the first mover, inspiring countless others to step forward, challenge norms, and contribute to something bigger than themselves. Ultimately, this choice defines leadership, impact, and legacy. You have proven that meaningful change isn't a matter of luck or timing. It's a matter of courage and initiative. By putting action above comfort, you created momentum, sparked awareness, and set a standard for those who will follow. Congratulations! Your decision shows that true progress belongs to those who dare to act, even when the world hesitates.